flip this over to Michigan. And there are a couple ways to look at this, is that there is still a lot of meat left on the bone for Michigan because of what I mentioned. JJ McCarthy did not throw a very good completion percentage. He just hit the big plays when they were there, which is what he needed to do. All credit to him. You look at his run game, and it wasn't their typical, we're going to hit you for some 12s and we're going to hit you for some 15s. It was like, we're getting 1s and 2s and 3s. So they can open up some more gaps. I think they can play much better on the offensive side. You cannot, if you're Michigan, this is coming from a guy who's been in a championship locker room, let the emotions of that game and what it means for the rivalry lie to you, because it'll have you thinking that you played much better than you did in this football game. And that right there is a deterrent to success. But based off what I saw last year and what I've seen all year from this Michigan team, I don't think that's going to be an issue. I just wanted to put that out as a word of caution. You get caught up in an emotional win and the tide's turning and all the things that come along with it. And it'll have you thinking that you're playing a lot better football than you are. And they played some damn good football. But, this is, I think, one of those opportunities where the championship is made, where the coaches say, listen, we won 45-23 and we could have played even better.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I completely agree with you. And I want to reiterate something you said, and I want to reiterate something that I've been saying about this over and over again, because I get the same stuff. I get you're making too many excuses. What about these guys? Michigan won the football game. So there's a ton of credit that needs to go to that. And they did it in ways they really haven't had to all year, which is good, right? That's, to your point, that's growth. And there's room for improvement in that growth as well. I think the biggest and most advantageous part of this entire equation for Michigan is that they're probably not going to have to see Georgia now unless something really fucking crazy happens until the championship game. Yeah. And that's what I think. Last year they ran into a buzzsaw in the first round of the playoffs. It was a really good football team that was pissed off. And you saw some of the deficiencies that Michigan had when playing somebody like that. Right.
100%.
And now that's what I've said, like, what's next for Michigan? Because I think you hit it perfect. Like, Michigan is the bell cow in the Big Ten right now. They are the standard because of what they've done and how they've done it. But when it comes to the expectations and replacing what Ohio State's been, because I think Ohio State's been the bell cow of the Big Ten for so long, not only because of what they've done within the Big Ten conference, because of what they've done outside of the Big Ten conference and the games they've won in bowl games, in the college football playoffs, and obviously a national championship in there. They've beaten the Goliaths. Michigan has yet to do that consistently on a stage like this. So this is going to be the big next step for them. And that's where I'm thinking more projection wise, like, thankfully they're not going to have to run into Georgia, and they can, that first step in the right direction is going to be much easier this year.
It's nice when you can get a win in the college football playoff. I mean, that goes a long way, even if they don't win the whole thing, in building toward the next step, because that would be a natural progression for them based off of what they did a year ago. I want to touch on this aspect of Michigan, though. It's interesting because we're sitting back on the show and we talked about their red zone struggles throughout the year. And one of the comments that I made, and we kind of laughed about it, but it is true. So when you can't score in the red zone, you just draw it up so you can score in the field. Don't get in the fucking red zone. And they didn't have to get in the fucking red zone to score. And I think it's funny because I make that comment all the time, and folks will be like, dude, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And it's stupid until it's not. Like, take the shots, bro. Like, don't even make it an opportunity where you got to line up inside the 20 to try to score. So that, to me, they capitalized on what was out there. Like the double move that they had, the damn corner post.
The corner ridiculous. Post.
Yeah, I mean, that's the type of stuff that they're going to need to have in their bag in order to achieve what we both believe that they're capable of achieving this year.
Yeah, I completely agree. And then, to your point, I think the evolution of their passing game and that intermediate, almost like third down conversion bag that you have, right? Because again, this is really the first, let's just say the first test outside of Penn State defensively that they've faced all year. Granted, you're down Blake Corum, which is a big, I mean, he had like 2 carries the entire game. Yeah. That's a big loss. a Heisman contender, in my opinion, a guy who should definitely be in New York for what he's done for the team. But this was the first test defensively that they've had. And to your point, you saw a lot of inefficiencies in their run game, and consequently that serves for second and third and longs, right? And what does the quarterback need to do in second and third and long to be able to keep the offense moving, get first downs, and stay on pace? You got to convert in those types of situations, and doing it at a 50% clip isn't. To your point, they were explosive, but that's an area where they're going to have to start to expand upon, because it's not going to be lean on them, and JJ make a play when and if we need you to. Right. When you're starting to play with these big dogs, there's going to be possessions where you're going to get it going, but there's also going to be possessions where you're in 3rd and 9 and your kid's got to make a play. And if you don't, the guy pulling the trigger on the other side, Stetson Bennett, Caleb Williams, Max Duggan, they're going to do it because they've done it over their entire career. Right. So that's where the ebb and flow, and I think growth and maturity comes for this team offensively.
No doubt. And just to throw in a nugget on that is explosive as this offense was, JJ McCarthy, and this is me charting plays, so it's not Pro Football Focus or anything that actually is probably worth a damn. Lost my charger. Sorry, guys. He was like 3 of 9 on deep ball, so 33%. That's something certainly that they're going to have to get solved.